be the school board within the province that will be highlighted as part of the next steps of this work on how did you approach it? What worked, what didn't work, how engaged, how broadly engaged were the stakeholders in the organization, and ultimately why are we doing this? We're doing this to make a difference in the classroom.
The strategic planning process in the Durham Catholic District School Board was a remarkable opportunity for all members of our region to come together, including our Board of Trustees, our Durham Catholic Parent Involvement Committee, our Special Education Committee, our principals, vice principals, teachers, students, all of our units, and our community. It was a wonderful opportunity to come together to see what's important. Ken Leithwood, when he defined 9 effective principles important for district improvement, was central to our guiding mission in developing the strategic plan. Liz Sandals, in her new document, A Renewed Vision for Education in Ontario, was also critical as we walked in seamless alignment with the ministry throughout this process.
There were 5 specific steps, starting with step 1, setting the stage. Setting the stage was to ensure that everyone understood what strategic planning was all about and what processes that we were going to undertake in the coming months in terms of setting the stage. The second stage was developing the vision, and this, to me, was one of the most important stages, and it's a stage early on in the process in terms of looking at our past missions, our past vision, our past goals, and really looking at our strategic directions and setting the vision going forward. The third stage is evaluating opportunities, and evaluating opportunities is looking at all of the excellent work that we do as a school board, a school district, identifying gaps, and then building those gaps and those priorities into our themes. The fourth stage is the stage where we look at all of our key data. Our key data informs us in all directions and helps to understand our successes and helps to identify our gaps. And then the fifth stage is selecting our key strategies. In the case of our Discovery 2020, it's our 10 themes. And as we went through each of the stages, the planning process became richer and richer and richer as we received more and more input from across the organization.
So one of the first things I did was initiate a Discovery 2020 survey that went out to all of the people who work for us. And we received over 1,000 surveys back, which was a great opportunity to get to understand what people thought were the great things that are happening in our board, the great things to celebrate, and the history and the rich traditions that we have. It also enabled me to understand what were some of the challenges, where do people think we should go in terms of our next steps. So from there we moved on to hearing from the students, and we had what are called student voice consultations, where the chair of the board and myself went out to schools, and in the lunch hours we had opportunity to meet hundreds and hundreds of students who came to meet us and tell us where they think the board should go. And what a wonderful opportunity. They would complete the survey, they would meet with us one-on-one and have conversations about things we would never have thought of to make our system even greater. Of course, we went out to the community, we talked to parents, we talked to community agencies, and we had consultations in the north and in the east and in the west, and great numbers showed up. Again, to fill out a survey to understand what were the opportunities and the challenges and the next steps for the board.
The excitement of gathering the data, the excitement of informing, bringing forward all the information that we can gather in terms of the work that we do on the business of education, working with our educational partners and developing a common plan that's good and best for the students we serve and the staff we serve.
As we worked through the process, we wanted to look at our guiding principles, and so it was very important as we developed them. We got as broad a group to work on it as possible. We developed principles for excellence, equity, and the new evangelization. That helped us move forward and work on our key themes. And as we also looked at the data that went into the plan, it was really important to see what was relevant and how it would be meaningful in informing where we were going. We looked at other boards, our board's previous plans, other boards' plans. We wanted to look at regional strategic plans as well to see where we fit in this changing region. We looked at groups as diverse as Metrolinks, who are talking about transportation across the region, the regional municipality of Durham. We wanted to look at where this region is going and growing, because we have new universities, we have the expansion of the 407, we have all sorts of amazing things taking place. Moving forward, it's a plan that's data-driven, and everything we do will have key measurables, so that as we complete a goal, we can certainly look back and check to see where we are against it. We're going to create a report card, and so everything that we've done, beginning with the end in mind, we want to make sure that the data we collect and will continue to collect helps us see how we're doing towards each one of those key themes.
The first thing that emerged was the idea of excellence. And so every conversation that we had always came back to the role of every member of the Durham Catholic District School Board in terms of the instructional core. And so at the center of our board improvement plan, we have the instructional core, which is developing the skills that 21st century learners need. And so it didn't matter if you were a custodian and designated early childhood educator, an educational assistant, or a teacher, you were always trying to maintain that focus on excellence, meaning that every student can learn to his or her highest potential. The next theme that emerged was the notion of equity. We are a fully inclusive board, but that's not all we mean by equity. We mean that all students, and that's emphasis on the word all, can achieve their potential given the right time and the right supports. And the third one, of course, was the new evangelization. We're going to achieve excellence and equity in the light of our faith tradition and following the gospel values. From there, we also had 10 broad themes emerge. And the 10 themes are witnessing faith, teaching and learning, inspiring leadership, celebrating inclusion, emerging technology, serving in partnership, managing resources, advancing communication, and expanding pathways. There was a member of our senior leadership team that was responsible for each of the themes, and in those themes we were charged with coming up with 3 strategic priorities. Then within each of those strategic priorities, we had to come up with 3 specific, measurable and data-driven goals that we could then evaluate and report on over the course of the next year and over the course of the whole strategic plan.
Everything that we do aligns with those strategic priority areas, and we're starting to see the evidence in our planning process, whether it's at the board level with our board improvement plan, within our school improvement plans, our departmental plans, and then the actual actions, strategic actions we're taking in our initiatives. So in terms of the broad sharing of those strategic priorities, something like this board improvement plan here, which iconically reflects the work that we did in the strategic plan, the 10 icons, the 10 broad themes, the new mission. This was broadly shared with every member of our school community, whether you're a custodian or a painter or a secretary, a teacher, ECE, educational assistant, everyone is aware of the plan. When we get together in our meetings, we constantly refer back to these icons, and we make that explicit connection to the work that we're doing, whether it's in a workshop or through an initiative or on a writing team. We make that explicit connection to the strategic actions that we had in our different areas and through our different themes. Our board improvement plan has been revised to directly correlate with the format of the strategic plan, so that's another living document that shows that we're really working on those priority areas. And then the different things that we set out to do in the plan are coming to light now. Something like our focus on 21st century learning skills through our bring your own device policy and procedures. When we share this with parents, we're making those explicit links and connections as well. Something like our sharing of excellence workshop series, where different departments have come together to create, an after-school series of workshops that links back to those strategic actions and priorities that we set out in the plan. Things like our approved diagnostic list as well really goes back to the equity, excellence, and new evangelization and all of those priority areas. So this is the exciting part now, it's the actual work. We're going to roll through this for the next 5 years, and we have a real clear template for how we will move forward and how we will work.
Well, I think knowing that principals and vice principals were going to be on the front line during the implementation phase of this, Anne and the rest of the senior admin team was very deliberate in how they engaged principals in the process. Right at our very first meeting last year, we were told about how the process was going to enroll, and we ourselves were encouraged to complete the survey, as well as go back and talk to our staff and encourage them to complete the survey also. As the year progressed, every time we came together, we got an update on how the process was going and what the next actions were going to be, which was great. I think the biggest piece of learning that came for the principals was when it was unveiled to us prior to the public launch. All the principals and vice principals were gathered together, and we had the opportunity to rotate through some carousels facilitated by the different superintendents, and had an opportunity to dig deeply into it and ask questions and get a real understanding of what was involved in that. It really helps staff see the direction that the board is going in, and it provides a sort of a lamppost for them too. They're working towards something, and I think that's important. And so when I worked with my staff, they really understood, okay, this is what we're all about and this is what we're working towards. So I think it's been really beneficial.
So I think it affects every day in our classroom because we're guided with what we do now with the vision that's shared. And because we were all a part of this process, we're all, there's a clear sense of direction on where to go and a very strong sense of ownership over this plan because we were all part of it, because we're all valued. And so we own it, we believe it, and we want our kids to grow and be the best that they can through this plan because we believe in it.
The great thing about the strategic plan process for the board was that I was able to come at it from a very unique perspective. I'm coming at it as a perspective as a former graduate, as a parent with young children, and as a trustee, as well as a member of the community. So I try and bring those unique perspectives to the entire process, and I have to say that there was a great collaboration from the board and parents and myself, and as a trustee and as the chair, that it was an extremely collaborative process. It was a great example from the senior admin team of how to put a process together and engage the community, so that was excellent. Trustees also had the opportunity to not just read the information and understand a presentation at the board meetings, but to sit on subcommittees. Several trustees had the opportunity to sit on subcommittees throughout the process, and we're able to engage with other stakeholders in the community about what's working, what's not, what direction do we want to go in, where do we not want to go, so that at the end of this entire process we have a really cohesive plan that we're quite proud of. The entire board and the senior staff have created several programs and ways to engage the trustees and the community and the staff in general. For example, there were several community-based feedback sessions where staff were invited, teachers were invited at different places across the board so that the trustees could be involved in that input and provide that feedback to senior staff during the creation of the strategic plan. We also got a vision of the strategic plan at different points at board meetings throughout last year since the process started at the end of August, and we would get bits and pieces of the feedback, and at each stage of that process the board was able to provide some feedback and understand exactly what was happening across the board. So it was a great example of a collaboration between senior admin, staff, the community, and the board, all working on the vision and the direction of the strategic plan for the school board.
This is a bold plan. It's a truly creative plan. It's ambitious. And I think the fact that we've dreamed big and gone big is amazing. We're moving forward towards 2031, and this plan is certainly going to take us to 2020 and beyond.
The Ministry of Education has 4 goals: student excellence, equity, well-being, and to increase public confidence in education. In our board, we're trying to establish that seamless alignment from the Ministry's expectations to our strategic plan, to our board improvement plan, to the departmental and divisional plans in every school, right down to the teacher's personal annual learning plan. In each of our documents, you will see that it begins with a water drop. We feel that every drop makes an impact on a much larger sea and ocean, just like in our system. Every teacher, every action that we do has an impact. Everything we do must affect the student's desk, regardless of our position within the system. And it is our goal to have personal excellence for every student who we serve in our board.